This PowerPoint is a component of the Introduction to How to Do Library Bookkeeping. This short presentation is an overview of bookkeeping and accounting. It covers the State Board of Accounts required forms and includes the use of the ledger and journal. The basis for how to do bookkeeping is the ledger, where transactions are recorded and an account of appropriation balances are found. To begin, what are the differences between a bookkeeper and an accountant? In a larger library, there may be an accountant bookkeeper on staff. They may hold the position of treasurer as a paid position, or a library board member may hold the position of treasurer. Accountants and bookkeepers have different duties and responsibilities as listed on this slide. The director cannot be the treasurer, but may be the bookkeeper in a smaller library. The focus of this presentation is on bookkeeper responsibilities. There are two different ways of accounting for transactions, the cash and accrual method. Public libraries in Indiana account for transactions on the cash basis. Again, in larger libraries, they may use the modified accrual or accrual method of accounting. Remember, cash basis of accounting simplifies the accounting process by eliminating the need for payables and receivables. However, this simplification tends to distort the amount of resources that an organization truly has available. Therefore, libraries should exercise a great deal of care not to overspend resources by failing to consider unpaid invoices. The accounts payable voucher is used by libraries to process funds due to vendors. The library board treasurer signs off on the allowances on the accounts payable voucher. Warrants, for the most part, are no longer used in public libraries. The warrant is an intermediary process to allow payment for an expenditure. An important internal control is have the treasurer authorize payments. The treasurer is authorized to sign checks and is bonded for this liability. Be sure to read Chapter 2 regarding Library Board of Trustees in the State Board of Accounts Manual for Public Library Accounting. The library is responsible for keeping an account of daily desk collections. There is a form for this. This includes cash on hand, the beginning balance in the cash register and change machine. This is generally reconciled before the library opens each day. That is, the desk collections from the previous day are reported and properly filed. Cash that needs to be deposited in the bank is done on that day. The smaller libraries may not have enough money to deposit to justify a daily trip to the bank. Indiana Code 5-13-6-1 states the following are not required to deposit funds on the business day following receipt if funds on hand do not exceed $500. In this case, a political subdivision, that is, a public library. Receipts and desk collections are recorded in the ledger. The ledger contains the transactions of all the funds. For example, Library Financial and Appropriation Record, Library Form 1, should be totaled and balanced at the end of each page, and a new ledger sheet should be opened at the beginning of each month. The journal details the activity of the most active accounts. For example, you may journal the transactions for book purchases. Journal is a record that keeps accounting transactions in chronological order, that is, as they occur. You can download the two documents from the Moodle site, the Library Financial and Appropriation Record and the Library Financial Transaction Document. It is important to read Chapter 4 of the State Board of Accounts Manual for Public Library Bookkeeping, then go through the two downloaded documents in detail. Please track the transactions on the ledger. The last exercise to do is on page 4-11 of the manual, where the ledger needs to be totaled and balanced. Please follow the directions with the downloaded Excel spreadsheet to make sure it balances. As I stated on the slide regarding bookkeeper versus accountant, an accountant would prepare financial statements. This duty may be performed by the treasurer, where a report is made to the board monthly. There are a variety of financial statements possible. It is noted that no prescribed form for the required monthly financial report is recommended by the State Board of Accounts. There is suggestion of two types of report. One, a report by fund, showing the previous month's ending balance, total receipts for the month, total disbursements for the month, and the balances at the end of the month. Two, report by budget classifications, showing the currently approved appropriations, disbursements in each appropriation to date, and the appropriation balance. The capital assets form is required to account for all capital assets owned by the library. It is used to record additions and deletions in capital assets owned by the library. The library board establishes the threshold for items noted as a capital asset. The State Board of Accounts recommends a threshold of $5,000. Remember, this capital asset is a useful tool when purchasing insurance, and it is also an internal control to account for property loss. I have covered the general points for accounting and bookkeeping for public libraries, particularly for small libraries. To summarize, the documents account for the library's revenues and expenditures is the ledger. A subsidiary accounting can be done in a journal for important transactions that are listed chronologically. Also, it's important to account for daily transactions on the desk collections report. And all these documents are important for internal controls, including the capital assets report. The information in these documents can result in financial statements from the treasurer. It is important to track the financial stability of the library month to month and year to date. If you want to know more on these topics, check out the titles listed in the bibliography.